はい。お願いします。
お願いします。
Just a little bit loosening off. Just use this kind of vertical. And loosen the body up a little. The hands. If it's a little bit cold where you are, and just also you can kind of leave the ground a little bit, make it a bit more dynamic. And also play with kind of mobilizing through the foot as well. So taking the weight of the body onto the heel, and also kind of leaving, coming up onto the toes. Just try and start to move the body. Feel a kind of springiness from the lower body, especially in the knees. Try and let the knees really absorb and bounce through the whole system. Good. Just coming down, go into side to side. Just let the weight of the body sway across one side to the other. Let's keep the arms nice and loose. And play a little bit with also the different parts of the body. So play with the head a little bit coming into the movement. The arms, the shoulder, the hips. These are about mobility, so just try and get everything moving. Hopefully it feels kind of flexible. If you feel any kind of tension in the movement or in the body, just see if you can kind of work into that area. See if you can kind of introduce a little bit of looseness through the movement. That's it. Good. Good, and just coming into the hips, just let the arms all over the side. And imagine like the arms are really like thick, heavy ropes. Just kind of roll through. Roll through. And as much as you can now feel that the feet are kind of stuck to the ground. And you can really work kind of spiral through the whole body. Feel the weight drain down, right into the ground. So. And just watching this movement, just watch out for this kind of movement that happens with the body. This is okay in terms of loosening the body, and sometimes I kind of do this just to kind of get the body moving. But if in this case, look at this a bit more as a kind of grounding and centering exercise. Really allow the hips to kind of hinge and open in the movement. And what I'm basically doing is allowing the rotation of the body to happen from the hip this way. So it's really this part of the body that's kind of creating the movement. And I'm not relying on the upper body to kind of create the rotation. So really just see if you can source that rotation into the hip or in the hip work and let the upper body just follow that. But just watch the, you don't get into these kind of movement with this one. So look for the center of the movement and look to really motivate at the hip. Down, down. Good. Good. Okay, and then come into the spinal wave. And really the focus now is a little bit like the pelvic region, this whole the kind of underside of the pelvis. We're going to kind of close in, open out. Close in, open out. You might find useful like the first two or the first few movements, really kind of close the body, get to a kind of closed position, and then really kind of open the body out. So you've got these kind of two extreme movements. And then close. Really feel that you can kind of fully close the body. And then fully open. Fully close. fully open, and then start to see if you can basically move through these motions kind of fluidly, and then start to feel like you can kind of pass a movement through the spine, just coming up and down the spine. And the body's closing and opening with the movement. Good. What I want you to do now is keep the movement, just start to exaggerate it a little bit. So start to bring the movement down, bring the movement back a little bit more. Just be careful in the back that you don't go too far with the spine. Keep the lower body flexible, but just start to now increase the range of motion all the way down with the hands and as much as you can back. Opening, falling down. And just more and more feel the weight of the lower body. That the upper body is just releasing on top of the lower body. So you want a very stable base. You want a very fluid upper body. Really great movement for the spine. Okay, we're doing a little bit of stretching just for the spine. So this is just reaching up and at the same time really breathe in through the nose, create length through the whole body, and then bending from the knees. And what I want to do is maintain the length through the spine. So keep the knees bending, reach into the ground, but keep the length through the spine. As you do it, just breathe out gently. Reach all the way to the ground. You can spend a couple of seconds here, just release through the body. And then when you feel like it starts to just draw the body up. But you're going to use the same kind of idea of like a kind of closed body if you come up. And then what I want you to do is kind of release through the spine. So the spine's going to kind of release the movement. Reach up, breathe in. Find the extension, maintain it as you come down. And just a nice gentle breath. All the way down. Spend a few moments just on the ground. And when you feel the kind of need to kind of breathe, come up. And just do it kind of slowly. Slow. Reach up. All the vertebrae is going to kind of going up. And then extend through it. All the way up. All the way down. And just start to kind of regulate the movement with the breath. So if you do it faster breath. You do it slower breath. Deeper breath. Just a few more. About 8 or 10. And try and feel the lengthening of the spine. And just one more, nice and deep. Full motion. And then just draw back up to the center. And you're ready. Okay, it's going to go to the side. So again, I want you to create length through the body and then breathe in. Lengthen through this whole side of the body and then just reach the body over. Just let the body kind of fall. Weights come into the opposite leg. And just fall through the body. And really slowly release it. Come back to the center and then just go to the other side. Breathing in, stretching up. All the way over. So, and again, trying to keep the length through the whole spine. Release it, and then again. And release it nice and slow. Stretch up and over. Good. And just one more on each side. Nice and slow. And back. And that's one on this side. Okay, good. You just shake the hips out a little bit. This way. Okay, now I'm going to do this kind of exercises. This is a kind of arm swing, but it's really focused on the hips. So I'm going to focus a bit on the hips today. I'm going to use it for the UKEMI as well. So just start with this one. This is like an arm swing. You're going to have the hands to the side, and then just drop them to the shoulders, and then release them out. Drop them to the shoulders. So this looks like a kind of arm technique, but really get the feeling that it's the hips. Hips drive the movement, and then just release it with the hip, just like this. This. And the first few, just again go to the motion where you're basically going to be still. Find the kind of neutral position. Engage the hip. Find the shoulder. Neutral shoulder. You can just unite the breath with the movement. So you might find it's easy to kind of breathe in as you do this, and breathe out as you do this. As you get more and more into the feeling of connecting the hip work, just start to make it a bit fluid. But try and keep a sense of the heaviness from the basic, this kind of basic form. Try and keep a sense of the weight draining down and a kind of heaviness in the arm. So no rush with it. And lock the hips. That's it. Good. And as you get more and more into it, just get the feeling that you can kind of really make it fluid. So the arms now start to act very heavy. But they're really trying and get them guided by the hips. So get the sense that the hands are being caught by the hips. It's like this. And try and really get a sense of the weight of the arm. If I can release all the tension from the arm, I can feel the true weight of the arm without me holding it up. I feel pretty heavy. That's it. That's it. Good, just continue. Just watch it a bit up. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, good. So it's a bit the case with everything we do that there's always a danger that I risk kind of doing the movement or kind of forcing the move. Forcing the move is probably a better way to put it, but in this case, there's a kind of way of I can kind of force the movement and basically do too much. But in this case, just really feel that if the arms are up and you were to just let them go, they would just drop like this. So the arm would, if it's in this position, and I just let gravity act on it would just do this. Now, all I'm doing in this case is allowing that to happen, and at the same time catching the hip with it. So at the point where it's coming across, what you're going to do is kind of kick the hip in. So it's an active movement in that I'm aligning to the movement, like you would do with the sword work. I kind of align the hip work to the sword, what the sword's doing. So in this case, the same thing, that the arm swings, and at the same time I engage the hip in the movement. But as much as I'm able to, I'm trying to release through the arm. So it's less about, again, doing it and more about just kind of catching the movement and allowing it to happen through the structure, which really has a different kind of feeling. Yeah. So you might find it easier just to do kind of one side. Just get this kind of dynamic, because this dynamic is all over the system. So it's really in everything we do. So if I can get it in a kind of simple action, this is really, really, really valuable. Yeah, good. That's it. And just play with it a little bit. There's no real correct form for this. There is a correct form, but it's much more about feeling than anything else. Yeah, good. That's it. Oh, nice, good. Yeah, good. Very good. Excellent. Good. Okay, and then the last one is exactly the same exercise, but I just make it really free now. And this is a lot more dynamic. And what the effect of this now is that the arm has a sense of impacting into the body. So in this like a wave. The arm's got a sense now it's going to make contact with the body and then release it. So you can do this just kind of one side. And the key again is the hip snap. Hip snap. So there's a sense that again I can do it this way, which has a certain kind of potential, certain kind of power. But if I do it like this, it's got much more, because I'm basically generating the movement with more of the body. So it's got much more sense of weight and potential. So it's got much more much more weight behind it. Just play a little bit with it, and just play with the arms. You can do one side. But the key thing is, relax the arms. And try and relax them much more than I am now. So it's a bit stiff. Just play with the connection a little bit. And it's just connection at the end of the day. So just play with it. There. And I'm working just on the shoulder, but feel that you can pass the arm anywhere. So just about the hand. You can also just go to the hip. But really feel that the center's basically involved in it. So let's play with it a little bit. Yeah. That's it. It feels kind of loose, kind of weak, kind of floppy. But the moment you do one that's kind of boom, the structure's in place, you will feel lots of power through the movement. Because you'll feel basically the weight of the whole arm hit the body. And that's when you kind of feel like, boom, shit. The hand goes dead, bam. yeah, good. That's it. Again, it looks like a kind of arm exercise, but it's actually a hip exercise. This like, well, it's a whole body exercise, but the focus is actually, for me, it's the hip. What's happening there? A little bit of a temi later, but let's get a feel for it. Yeah, exactly. Good. Nice. Good. Yeah, good. Okay, great. Okay, I'm just going to go to the ground a little bit, work on some UKEMI. But first, I just want you to kind of just come to the ground, come to a seated position. Probably maybe not used to sitting on the ground a lot and doing UKEMI for a long time. We've not done quite so much, but just get the feeling you're going to come down to the ground. And all you do is just come up from the ground and just kind of come up. I cut my head up. But just experiment with, just come into the ground, and you can do it any way you like. And you can come down to any seated position. That's a kind of nice position because we're quite kind of used to it, but just get used to just coming up and down to the ground. Very slow. Come down any way you like, and come down into any kind of seated position. With kneeling, also lying down if you like. Just come down. That's it. That's it. I mean, and you've got two choices. In terms of playing, you've got two choices. You can stick to the same motion and keep going through it and getting kind of more playful within that motion, or you can mix different positions in. I kind of play with two depending on how I'm feeling. Sometimes you just want to stick to one, but okay, good. Good. Nice. Great. Okay, so we're going to do a slightly similar exercise, but it's a little bit more dynamic now. So what I want you to do is come to the ground, find the seated position, and then just come straight back up, and then come down again. So again, really playful. Just get the sense that you're going to just come down. Use the hands, however you like. Just come up however you like. Now, again, the method doesn't actually matter, but basically the how matters. So coming down with a nice good structure, basically in the base, nice and relaxed. Coming down to a seated position. And just really take your time coming back up. And just explore the body. Sitting down. The key thing is really the hip work. So explore opening the hips. But basically now the hip work doesn't stop, or the center work doesn't stop. Just keep moving. Just do it slow so you can really take your time and consciously be aware of the movement. And feel free to reuse the hands as well. A lot of the time in the Japanese martial arts, you don't use the hands on the ground, but let's play a little bit with it. Okay, good. So we take this a bit further now. Most of you were doing it. I'll show you the thing. Most of you were doing it, and it's because probably the way I showed it as well. You were all kind of coming down to the seated position here on the back side or onto the seiza, and that's basically using the back of the body. So what I want to do now is just explore the front. As you come down, still find the back, and then what I want to do is roll over onto the front. Yeah, to this position. So you come down. Hopefully you can see. No, and then come back to this. Now you're gonna go down. I'll show you here so you can see. Go down. Roll over onto the front, roll back, and then come back up. Get nice and flexible. I don't think you can see me properly. You get the idea of it. You come down here. If you've got a yoga mat, use this kind of guidance. Yoga mat, just use the center on the yoga mat. Come up. And just come up however you like. Just make it as easy as possible. Now really rolling over onto the chest. That's it. Just make it as smooth as possible. So again, try not to hold the breath as you do these movements, especially as you go down and come up. These are kind of crucial moments. You really want the breath to be assisting the movement. That's it. Okay. Okay, good. So I'll just show you one thing with this. Okay, it's about the body being kind of lazy. The body will start to do this. A lot of time we don't use the lower body properly, so we rely on the upper body. So it looks sometimes like this. So I'm basically using the upper body as the kind of support for the body. I really feel the fundamental support for the body is the legs, the lower body. So what I'm trying to do in this case is keep the base basically underneath the body. But I'm trying to keep the upper body with a base on the ground. So when you come to this position, no, the base is straight down. But as you come up, really feel that what you're doing is trying to get the base and on top of the legs. You're trying to get the trunk of the body on top of the base. And then from this position, the base is going to take over this way. But really try and use the hands as support, but don't use them as a crutch for the body. So it's the difference between this or something like this. Where the lower body does all the hard work, all the heavy work. Just get a sense that the hands are quite light. A little bit like how a monkey walks. If you watch a monkey, they walk not with so much weight on the arm, unless they're running. They walk around pretty much on 2 feet with the hands as a support. Let's play a little bit with it. Or it is much longer. And if you start to use the hands, or if you start to use the hands too much. Yeah, that's it. Good. Good. We'll do a few more, but if you're feeling pretty playful and pretty flexible, and you can, just look for these kind of motions. You can come here, and then once you're in this position, also feel that you can start to bring in a roll over with it. So start to bring very, very light roll movements into it, but just feel like they're going to be very, very slow. So basically perform a roll now, but do it at any point. So I'll show you some really simple ones that you can do regardless of heavy floor or hard floor or anything like this. just get the sense you're going to come to the ground, and then feel that you can drop into a roll. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to drop with the body rolling over the top. Just means I'm going to bring the body into kind of motion through it. So this is the basic. And then this way, again, back up, find the base, and then stand up. And if you're feeling kind of, you've got the space and you've got a kind of softish floor, just play a little bit with going into different kinds of rolls. So as you feel kind of comfortable, but also kind of up a little bit to just explore some different kinds of rolls. And you're going to find them from slightly different positions, probably than normal. That's it, very nice. Great. And just watch one thing when we do the roll, because we've probably all done it quite formally. From a position, I go to the roll, I roll through, and then I stand up. My focus is all in the rolling movement. So everything gets kind of, in a way, kind of focused into this one part. But really feel that the whole motion is kind of fully conscious. It's like this, down, and the roll's just part of this process. But it doesn't become a kind of focal point in the movement. So if you were to look at the whole movement, you wouldn't see a kind of peak moment, like, wow, there's a lot of activity there. You basically see like a steady activity. But you wouldn't see a kind of and then and then and then this. So just get a sense that you can kind of really, and it's not about speed, you can do this at fast speed, but it's just about making the movement smooth and fully focused in every part of it. It's really the strength of formal training, but in a sense, you need to also kind of keep the same feeling in a kind of playful freestyle training. In the same sense that every movement is important. Every part of it is really part of the process. That's it. Okay, I'm going to do one last one because some of you are kind of flagging a little bit. So I'm going to give you an energetic one, so you can't flag through this one. I'm going to show you a really easy variation of it. There's a really kind of torturous one, but I'll show you. It's like this. You come to this position, push up, and then you roll over, and then you come up to another push up. Yeah, and then you roll over. And then you come to push up, and you roll over like this. This is a torture version, but we're going to do a really easy one. You're going to still do the push like this. You're going to get to this position. And then all I want you to do is roll the leg over like this. Here, roll back. Here, and then come up to the push-up position. Okay? If you struggle with the push-up position, just come to this position. Go down, roll back. I'll give you a few options, and then come up to this position. If you can do that, go to the push-up, roll back, come to the push-up, roll back, push-up, roll down, push-up, roll down, push up, roll back, and just do about 10 or 15. And depending on the level of difficulty, you'll find this either very, very difficult or super difficult. It's going to be hard anyway, whatever you do. That's it. Good. That's it. Good. Okay, good. Just stand up. Not too bad. Normally we do a kind of 20 of those, or 30. So in the dojo, this is a kind of good thing to do.
Oh, good.
Okay, just shake the body off a little bit. If you feel anything in the arms and the legs, just shake them out. Get the breath back. Kind of in the chest. Just work it a little bit, just depending on where you feel it. Body. Okay. And just go through a kind of shake through the whole body. Kind of where we started. But try now to really feel the weight dropping down. Okay. And we're going to go to another active movement. This is a swing. You're going to swing the arms up, drop them down. Swing the arms up, drop them down. Now, all the UKEMI work, you should hopefully feel the center pretty strong. Maybe it's kind of tight, crunching, but just feel that it's kind of really active. And allow the center to just motivate everything. Motivate the rise, motivate the fall. This way. Just let everything drop back. And everything raise. Drop, raise, drop, raise. So a nice active movement, but if you can kind of access it as a kind of really, really efficient movement. Really powered by the center. That's it. Okay. Last one, go to the shoulders now. So you're looking up at the top, release it front and back, and then swing them back up to the top, swing down. Front and back. So you're basically splitting the hands in from this position, just forward, backwards, and then catch them. Back to the front, over and back. Over and back. Over and back. If you lose the connection with this or you find it difficult, just focus on this movement. This is really the key part of it. But it's really, the feeling is to really open the shoulder out to the wide now. So really here. And if you can, just start to carry the movement over. And really feel the weight of the body, arms nice and heavy. And again, center motivating the movement. Okay, good. Good. Actually, the key to this movement is both opening the front and the back at the same time. So you can do this with the shoulders, like this, and I can do this with the shoulders, like this. But in this case, they're basically they're doing the same thing but following each other. So 1, 2, 1, 2. But in this case, both of the shoulders are doing two different things at the same time. So one's going front, one's going back. So you're doing now this. Yes. So this is why this movement's really the key to this. So it's like this. This. So the shoulders are doing this rotation. Bam, 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 bam. And they're actually doing two different things. Which is why the brain is actually, you'll probably find it quite tricky to get this at the start. or to get the coordination for it, because the arms are basically not following each other, doing their own thing. Good. That's that. That's that. Good. Okie dokie. So take a bokken. We'll do a little bit of bokken work. Okay, good. So just come straight into the first subversion, just a few, and then we'll take it a bit further. So just come back, find the back, arcing forward, and just straight away come into the focus. In the back, in the back, through. We've done a lot of hip work, center work, also with the UKEMI, but also a lot of lengthening and relaxing work. So try and access all this kind of work here through the form. A very simple form. Really allows me to go deep into the principles. So I'll just focus on one kind of technical point in this case, which is just the kind of hips, this whole region. which we tend to talk about the center. Just really be specific about the hips. So don't think too much about the center as an abstract thing. Think of the hip work in this case. So really think about, from this case, the hips are basically dropping in, and then as you raise up, the hips are drawing back this way. So really feel that the hips are coming into this position, and kind of square on with the hips at this point, and then from here really dropping into the hand. So allow the hips to basically triangulate forward. So you go back, really draw the hips back, and then really press them through the hand. So really focus on the hips, and allow that movement to happen instantly. So it goes hips and hips. So allow the hips to basically start the movement now. So just put them as the focus. It's easier to think about the hips than the center. So just think about the hips engaging straight away. So the hips engage through the curve. Just take all the focus now. Hips, 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 hips. Like this. Okay, good. So if you think about it, also this is technical training, but it's also energetic training. So you're putting the body into different states or different positions, and that really depends on what functionality I'm doing with the movement. So if you think about it, the state in this movement is really calm. So the state of my body is actually very calm. What I don't want to do is confuse that motion with something else, which is quite active, like this. So this is something else. What I want in this kind of state, which is the kamai state, is really something that's very calm, very relaxed. As I draw back, I have the feeling like I'm really drawing something up through the body. So it's really it's like a gathering movement. So I don't want to be, in this case, kind of loose. And also don't want to be really active as well. I want to have something like a kind of gathering feeling here. And then as I go into the cut, I want to feel like I really engage fully with the hip. So it's really got to feel like I'm slamming something through into the ground. So it's got a very active kind of state. And then I'm basically cycling between those states. So you can think in terms of technical stuff and all that stuff's important, really important, or essential. But really, you're also training a kind of energetic thing, which is a kind of calm, really gathering something up through the body, and then really engaging everything forward, and then coming back to calm. So just play with this kind of idea, this kind of cycling through states or qualities. You can look at it in different ways, but. And the best thing is not to confuse them. Confuse one for the other. That's it. Yeah. Good. And the state should be like a constant. It should be like an electric switch. Boom. You go from one to the other. It's not a kind of gradual thing. It's like boom into one, back into the other, back into one, back into the other. So the state basically just changes. Basically, my whole concentration, my whole body's going to that position. Back. Back. It's got a really kind of a direct. The change is really direct.
Hey. Up.
Good. Great. Good.
Hey. Up. Hey. 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 Hey.
Okay, super. So I'm going to add one movement into it, which is like number 6 with the ski. So you to come back, again, back to the body, drop everything in, and then from this position, keep this kind of engagement and just press everything through. So you're just going to engage it you're going to lengthen that kind of engagement feeling or state, and you're going to press it into the ski. So find the back, engage the hips, engage through the ski, and then release it all back to a kind of state of calm. Back, and then, don't step on the floor. And then come back. So just working with a very short, direct number 6. Working with Shomanuchi, back, and then ski.
Up. Right.
Give yourself really space in between the movements, so you can really concentrate.
Up.
Good.
Hey.
Nice.
Hey. Up. Hey. Up. Hey. Hey.
Okay, good. So in terms of technical points, just watch the hips, a bit of a focus on the hips. You're going to really engage the hips into this position, which is really like a kind of tiny angle position. So the hips, even though they're triangular, are quite square on. They're not in a kind of Yokomanuchi kind of position, so they're not kind of kind of pulling the back hip kind of, what's the word? I lose my English sometimes. This way, it's not doing this out, it's doing this position. And now as you come through to the ski, you're actually going out of that position. So I'm not staying in this kind of Shomanuchi position, I'm doing this forward. What I'm actually doing in this case is really coming into in a Hito-emi position. So the body's going to do this. So the body's going to come into this position, which basically allows the thrust to travel through the center. And if I do the movement like this, this is kind of something else. This is just kind of poking the sword at someone. What I want to do is enter into a spiral. So what I need to do is let the hips spiral a little bit. So it's more focus in number 7. We did number 7 this morning for those looking for that. But in this case, the hip work's got a similar quality. It's basically spiral, and the footwork is going to go from Shomanuchi to kind of Hito-emi. And if you're a bit confused about what UKEMI is, just think about the Joe work we do with the ski, where the body's more side on than forward. It's got this kind of quality. Just think about this change in the hip work. And then let the whole body do that. Again, it's just about aligning the movement of the whole body to what you're doing. So in this case, it's a horizontal thrust. You need to adjust the body to accommodate it. That's it. That's it. Good.
Right. Up. Right. Right. Up. Right. Oh.
Okay, just play with this. This is a slight variation on the ski. Sometimes we do this in the Western work. It's a nice way to kind of mobilize the handwork a little bit. One of the problems with the ski work is we tend to be too fixed in the hands, and I get these kind of positions. So actually, the arm's basically stuck on the sword. So they're basically moving the body like this. So there's no sense of kind of release through the movement, like this. So this is a variation I'll show you in detail. But you're going to go like this, and the basic idea is I turn the blade part up. It's like this. So I thrust through, but you're going to go like this, and then the blade's down. I'm going to, as I thrust in, rotate the blade up. It's like this. So that's the basic idea for it. So the technical detail like this, probably quite hard to see, but I'll show the hands a little bit closer next. It goes like this. You do the same body work, and then I allow the sword to rotate through the hands this way. Okay, and I end up in this position. So the blade's facing up in that way. So I'll just show you the hand detail. Like this. You're in this position. I'll show you so you've got the light. Like this. Okay, as you do it, you're going to do this. This. So you see the rotation happen in the backhand. This. This. And this hand basically stays as it is. And I just let it rotate into like this. Like this. Just give it a try. This is a slight variation. You'll actually see this in a lot of the old videos of O-sensei, and sometimes Saito sensei, he did this also. This is a form that we have in the system. Not. That's it, Keith, good. Yeah. That's it. Nice. That's I like techniques that stop me being lazy because I'm naturally kind of lazy. So this technique is really great for it because if I go like this and then I go like this, I can't do it. So I can't be lazy in this. I need to have a sense that I'm going to let the sword kind of move through it. Now, in effect, what I'm doing is actually more lazy because I'm actually just allowing the sword to rotate and I'm actually letting the grip just fold through it. So the movement, and this feels like kind of butter in the fingers. It's like, oh, it's got a real sense of softness. It's got that kind of feel. So this is a really kind of easy movement, and it's super lethal actually because it's very fast. It's like that. What it actually do is towards the throat, to go straight into the throat. And then the idea with this movement, with the blade being up, is I slice it through the movement, and then I cut them through this way. So this idea is that actually I continue the blade coming up to the body this way, and it comes like this. But just really focus on this. Basically, the hands are feeling a focus. So you got this snap, and then this. Snap. So it's got a really nice quality in the hands. But again, the hips are doing the same kind of thing. Nice. Yeah, good, good, good. Nice. Okay, we'll do another really simple one. So it's just using number 7, and we'll do a little variation on it. So you find it again the back, cut through, and then from here just look for number 7. So this kind of tight spiral through the whole body and grounding the body. And then again, just coming back. So again, take it nice and slow, but the draw back, engaging, and then pressing through for the thrust. That's it. Yeah. Good. I'm going to slightly change it just to give you something different to do. So in this case, don't go for the first route, which is to find the back and then cut through and then cut through this way. What you do now is just go straight into the shomichi cut. So this is now an advancing striking route. So you just kind of like this and then come straight in this way. Now this is much more challenging, just inherently because of the movement's very much more direct. You've just got to go straight forward. And then the really difficult thing in terms of coming into the ski is I need to plant the body really in a ground that I can just pass through into the ski this way. So this motion now, and really look for something that's quite aggressive, quite direct. So the whole body's going to advance. Bam! This and then comes into the next movement like this. Just play a little bit with it, but it's got a really kind of really aggressive kind of quality. This is really an attack so, or an attacking. But you can also do it super slow. So the aggression has nothing to do with speed or velocity. It's got everything to do with intent. Okay, just try something. This is something you would do in kendo, but we very rarely do it in aikido. We very sometimes do it. In kendo, you can get away with it because everyone's got armor on, so you can get away with really slamming someone in the face with the sword. You can't really do that in aikido because we don't wear armor. But what you can do is really practice it when you're on your own. You can really do it with full intent. So just get the feeling now you're actually mobile in the movement. And what we never do in aikido, we always start from a position. We come into kamae and then we attack. We come into like a fair position. We come into a pre-arranged agreement and then we attack. But this is not really how an attack would actually happen. Or that moment will be like a split moment in the engagement. But just feel now you're actually in motion. Something's moving, and then when you feel like something will jump out at you, probably in the room, and you will just want to kind of go towards it. Now just think about connecting into it. Don't necessarily think about hitting it, and hopefully you don't hit anything. But just feel you move the body, get everything in movement, and then come into the motion. And then come into the ski, like this. Now do it much more in a kind of engaged, active way, less kind of formal. So it's much more motion, pressure. And the key part's the shomichi, so don't worry so much about it. Let everything come forward. Just allow your body to kind of get aggressive. Tendency so the bodies get pulled down. So mobilize the body. That's it. And this is nice in Aikido when we train with each other. So this is okay for formal work, but when you're kind of playing with someone and you kind of trust each other, you can really start to kind of play with it a little bit more. But something we never do in Aikido is also kind of feint. We never kind of feint a movement and then do it. We always kind of go in and kind of do the full attack. Now this is actually how an attack would happen. I have to commit at some point to an attack. So in actual sense, it makes total sense to do it, to train this way, because it teaches a kind of sincerity in the attack. I put everything into one attack, and I don't do it in a way to trick the person. But in a way, what you're going to do now is just have the sense that you can kind of come into the movement a little bit, come into the movement. And what I want you to do, you can't surprise a partner now because you've not got one. So we're going to have the feelings like you surprise yourself as you do the movement. And you should feel like it just comes from nowhere. But just have this kind of sense, which is a bit kind of strange. Don't have any kind of thought to attack. Just let it kind of happen. We're just kind of either the body will get totally bored and just want to attack, or you'll actually feel the kind of impulse to attack from somewhere. And that will kind of surprise the body if I catch it. And maybe we don't catch it. No, it's not there. Yeah, it's not there. Deep. Oh. I think a bit of a story. I think a bit like a dog in this case. Most people are afraid when they think about dogs of loud dogs. They kind of bark a lot. The actual dogs you need to be really afraid of are the silent ones that you don't actually see. They creep up to you behind you and they run, and then they attack you. So they don't bark, they just bite in a sense. So you want to in this case no bark, which is basically a noisy kind of kamae in this case. A noisy kind of kamae is going to. It's in this case just the last few go really kind of calm and silent. So very calm, and it's almost like I'm not really moving. It's got this kind of very slow quality now. And the feeling now is like I want to creep up on someone. I want to creep up behind someone. And then when I get to distance, bam! They never see the attack coming through. This kind of quality. Nice to train. You can also do that. So if you put someone in the house, you can also creep up behind them and like, also good training. So just play a little bit with it. Last calm. Like a kind of ghost in the kamae. Very, very quiet. Okay, the last few, forget about the kind of Shomanuchi strike and just go to, don't really think about the attack. Just go to an attack. So again, just go to a kind of quiet state where you're kind of like, and feel a bit like a kind of cat creeping. There's a kind of, this kind of feel. And then don't think about any attack, just feel, you'll kind of feel an impulse to attack, hopefully. So this kind of quality, I move. And you feel a kind of stillness come to the body. And you just come through. Make it very short. So you can do one attack or two, but keep it quiet. Just the last few. Nice. Right. Okay, just do the last few. I just want you to notice one thing. We'll just do one more minute. just focus on the very, very brief moment before you attack. you will probably feel something in the body which kind of gears up and then go. This is the body going into a kind of ready mode. It's a bit like, I think of it a bit like a sprinter on the blocks. So the sprint at that moment, there's a total silence through the whole system, but the system's actually engaged. So it's like priming the system, and then bam, you just shoot out when you get the kind of motion. So if you do this quite slowly, unless I'm doing it like this, I'm actually attacking out of balance. If I do this with a sense where I'm actually balancing the body, just notice the body will naturally come to a kind of still point there. I'm kind of exaggerating now. And then from that point, the body's kind of primed to attack. Now, my ability to do that and recognize it in other people is what kind of the Iwase comes down to. So this is actually a really big topic, but just the last kind of 30 seconds. And just kind of noticing it. There's a kind of stillness before the attack. That's it. That's it. Okay, good. And if you want to play with it, we'll finish out. But if you want to play with this on your own, the best way to do it is actually not to attack. So the best way, the first thing to do is just have the sense that you're just going to mobilize the body. Just walk around with it. And what I'm looking to do in this case is really center the body, ground the body, and really feel a kind of calm through the whole system. It's got that kind of quality. Now, the second level for this, the interesting level to play with in terms of what we've just done, is this state where you go into a kind of ready position. So this kind of state. And then what I want you to do is feel that you can totally commit the body to the attack and then not do it. Go back into motion. Yeah? And then feel again, once you kind of center the body will kind of quiet that. And feel that all the impulse in the body is to tell you to attack, all right? But I just let it go. And then I work in and out of that level. And the more I kind of work in that level, where I'm kind of finding it, feeling it, and then dropping it. Finding the feeling, dropping it. Finding the feeling, dropping it. Then I just attach the attack to that kind of feeling. So then I feel it, and then boom, I attach the attack to it. So that's the kind of way you can kind of train it if you're on your own. And this is great work to do with a partner as well, when we can finally meet. But anyway, we'll bow out now. So if none of it's clear, you can ask me at the end. So. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Michael.
Thank you.